Hey everyone, welcome back to Midlife Revamped. Today I'll be taking you along some random things I do in the kitchen while we talk about something that every parent eventually faces preparing our kids for adulthood long before they turn 18, and then the important steps we have to take once they officially become adults. Because even at 18, most aren't ready to navigate important life matters on their own. These are the things I wish someone had told me when my kids were younger, so I'm hoping this helps you. Let's actually start way before they become teenagers, and this is obviously not possible for everyone, but hopefully you can make it happen. If possible, open up a high yield savings account for your child and just start putting a portion of birthday money and even your own money into it for your child. This is not financial advice, like I'm no expert, but if you have the ability to put money aside for your kids as soon as possible and in an account that will grow, then why not? High yield savings accounts were established in 2003, but I didn't learn about them until much later. So my kids had traditional savings accounts, and honestly, all of their money was just sitting there because I didn't have the time to figure it out. So I was busy raising kids and working, and I just didn't have the time. I had no knowledge of it. It wasn't until much later that I learned about high yield savings accounts, and then their money started growing. The second thing we did was talk a lot to our kids. We talked to them at home, around the dinner table when possible, and in the car. I don't remember my parents spending a lot of time talking about stuff with me, so I wanted to be sure that things were different with my kids. My parents did the best they could, but I feel like I wanted more communication with my kids. So, going on to the teen years, because preparing them for adulthood doesn't begin at 18, it begins around 13, 14, even earlier. Here are the things that matter most. Number one, teach them real life skills, not just schoolwork, real life. How to do laundry, for example. I stopped doing their laundry when they became teenagers. I don't remember the exact age, and I don't remember it being a big statement, but the kids just sort of naturally took over. And looking back, I'm so glad they did because I'm not sure I would have thought to have them take over. How to clean a bathroom. Well, we're still working on this one. They know how to do it, but getting them to do it on their own is still a challenge. But who can blame them? Nobody really enjoys cleaning a bathroom. How to cook 3 to 5 basic meals or items. For our family, it's making steamed rice, making scrambled eggs, how to boil pasta and just putting a jar of sauce on it, slicing up fruit, and then washing and steaming vegetables. We do a lot of broccoli here. How to manage a bank account. My older son took a business course in high school, so he started asking me a lot of questions about bank accounts, checking versus savings, and then we talked about credit cards as well. How to make appointments. This is a fun one because this generation doesn't really make phone calls, and if they are lucky, sometimes they can just make appointments online. I kind of like this too. How to advocate for themselves. This is a good one because I was definitely not taught how to do this. Sometimes I still struggle when I know something is not right, and I have an internal battle on whether I should speak up or not. If you don't teach these skills at home, they learn them the hard way in college or they don't learn them at all. Number two, let them make decisions and mistakes. This is hard for us as moms, but teens need practice making choices before they're on their own. This is a huge one for me because I was raised in a household that didn't allow for decision making. It was a do as I say kind of household, and it wasn't until I was in my late 20s that it all clicked and I realized that I was smart enough to make decisions. I was actually at work and asking a supervisor a question. She was kind and patient, but something in her tone suggested to me that I knew the answer. That was a turning point and a big epiphany for me. I vowed to prepare my kids for decision making by allowing them to make decisions. If possible, and I know there are exceptions to this, but let them choose their classes, manage their homework, deal with teachers, and plan their schedule. We want to keep rescuing them, but adulthood doesn't come with a rescue team, so we have to step back a little earlier than we're comfortable with. Number three, build emotional maturity. Teens are learning how to regulate, express, and communicate. Not perfectly, but they're trying. Talk about how to handle conflict, how to apologize, how to ask for help, how to cope with stress without shutting down. And these conversations matter just as much as academics. Number four, teach money skills early. Start with budgeting, saving, the difference between debit and credit cards, understanding needs versus wants. Hey, I'm still learning this. Most 18-year-olds don't fail because they're irresponsible. They fail because they've never practiced. That's my opinion, at least. Number five, encourage independence in small ways, especially in this day and age where texting is a norm and verbal communication needs work. Have them order their own food at a restaurant, talk to the dentist or doctor, email a teacher, schedule something on their own. These little moments build big confidence. The next part that I'd like to talk about is what to do when they turn 18. So, what happens when they officially turn 18? Because legally, everything changes overnight, even though they're still your baby. Here are the big things you should consider doing. Number one, healthcare power of attorney. Once they're 18, doctors legally cannot speak to you without their permission, even in an emergency. And it just doesn't seem right because I know I'm still paying for everything. So you'll need a healthcare proxy, a HIPAA release, and this allows you to help them if they're sick or in the hospital. Number two, financial power of attorney. This lets you help with banking issues, lost debit cards, for example, signing certain documents, dealing with financial emergencies. You don't control their money, you just have legal permission to help when needed. And number three, teach them how to use insurance. Most 18-year-olds don't know how to find a doctor, use their insurance card. They don't understand copay versus deductible, and just spend a little time, at least briefly, speaking about it. Number four, register to vote. So I had nothing to do with this one. My son did this on his own. So just a quick note about that. It's something that they can and maybe should do. Number five, update their important documents. Make sure they know where to find their social security card, birth certificate, passport, medical insurance card, and keep these copies somewhere safe. Number six, discuss boundaries and expectations. They're adults, but they still need guidance. Talk about curfews or check ins when they're older. We didn't operate with a curfew, we never have. We operated on you're either home, in school, or at work, and everything else is just talked about on a case by case basis. You don't get to stay out all the way until a certain time just because there is this established curfew. That's just how we operate, and that's what works with us. I know every family is different. Communication expectations. So for us, we really emphasized close connections within our family. We shared everything with one another, and this is just years of hard work and perhaps a little luck. I know this isn't easy for every family. It certainly didn't end up being this way with my parents. However, with my own family that I created with my husband, we talk a lot about everything. It's been a big blessing. The work has to be done when they're kids and when they are little. If you're paying attention to them and giving them undivided attention when they're little, hopefully they are sharing the details of their life with you as they get older. Financial responsibilities. This will look different for every person. For us, this started when our oldest got his first job. He had a car and a driver's license, so he paid for gas, for example, while we covered his insurance. It's really kind of good to, in my opinion, to give kids, teenagers, a little bit of financial responsibility. House rules when they're home. This one is difficult, but we try to put our phones away when we have the privilege of having a family dinner together. When the kids started using AirPods, for example, we made it a rule that they couldn't walk around the house with the AirPods in their ears. It just felt like they would close off their entire world to the rest of the family if they're walking around with these things in their ears. So it kind of just became this rule in our house. I don't feel like it's controlling, it's preparing them for life. And parenting teens is really parenting adults in training. And when they turn 18, our roles shift from manager to mentor to guide. We don't lose them, we just learn a new way to parent them. And if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments what stage you're in, teens, almost 18, college kids, etc. I'd love to hear from you.